What's up, guys? This is Coach Grant with First Down Training, and welcome to another episode of our First Down Training show. Today, we're going to be talking about are football players soft in 2025? So we're going to talk about kind of the culture changes in this game of football at the youth level, high school level that makes players I would deem soft, and then we're going to be answering some questions that you guys left on a previous episode of this show. So I appreciate you guys tuning in. Let's get started. So there's really four things that I want to discuss in kind of the football culture, if you will, that I feel are really soft and don't really do people much service. So the first one is going to be the rules around like blowouts. I talked a little bit about this last week, so I'm not going to go super far in depth, but I think it's worth saying again because I want you guys to understand this maybe if you didn't see that last episode that we did, okay? So I was at a youth football game, and this happens at a lot of football games based on what you guys have told me in the comment sections on the couple videos we've talked about this. But when a team is losing really bad, the things that I hate the most is when they change the rules and when they turn the scoreboard off, okay? Losing, guys, like, you never want to lose. Nobody wants to lose. I don't know anybody in America that's like, yeah, I want to lose, or like, yeah, I'm okay with losing. Like, losing is not good. Like, and we shouldn't, like, make winning bad. Like, when was winning a bad thing or beating a team really bad a bad thing? Like, why should we make the winners feel like not as like satisfied with their win as we should be? Like, and so like my issue is like if a team's losing like 50-6 and they shut off the scoreboard because they don't want little Johnny's feelings to get hurt, that doesn't do him any type of service because it doesn't show him like, hey, you lost really bad and you need to learn from that. You guys, just as like a human, not even like a football player or a football coach, I've learned so much from the failures in my life than I have from like the wins. Right? Like when I do something good, I don't learn anything from it. All I learn is like, I got to keep doing that. When I do something bad, whether it's like a failed relationship with a girl, whether it's like, you know, I told a lie and I got caught in a lie and then I'm like, oh crap, like, okay, I probably should not do that again. You learn more about yourself from the bad decisions and the bad things that happen than the good things that happen, right? So that's what we need to bring back into the youth football culture. Now, another thing that I hate in Pop Warner, it's like if you're beating a team by a ton and then it's like, okay, you're only allowed to run the ball up the middle. Like, dude, if I was losing and you changed the rules so like, oh, little Johnny's feelings don't get hurt, I'd feel worse about myself. I'd be like, man, this is stupid. Like, let me go out on my shield. Let me lose the right way because I can actually learn from that, right? Like, as a coach, if I got a team that gets absolutely obliterated, you know what I'm going to tell them? Be like, guys, we got a lot of work to freaking do. Like, hey, like Johnny, you need to do this. Timmy, you need to do better at this. You do better at this. And I'm not going to come down on them. I'm not going to tell them how terrible they are. It's just a better football team and they prepared better and they did better than we did and executed better than we did. I'm going to tell them where we need to improve. And then at practice, we're going to emphasize those things so we don't feel this way again. That's how life is. Life is about the wins and life is about losses. How do you handle the wins? And how do you handle the losses? Winning is not a bad thing. We should be proud of the people that win and proud of the people that have executed better than us. Somebody posted a comment on this video I made last week about like a really glorified head coach who was like super successful at the high school level, started coaching the youth level. He lost badly and he's complaining to the league saying like, oh, they didn't rotate players. They did this, they did that. Like, that's just a victim mentality, man. We got to get out of the victim mentality and we got to focus on, okay, I got my ass kicked. How can I do better next time? And if you guys can have that type of attitude, you're going to be much better off when football ends too as well. Because I'm not just trying to get you guys ready for the next stage of football, whether you're youth to high school to college. I'm trying to get you ready for the next stage of life because football is going to end for all of you. And football is probably one of the greatest sports on earth because you learn so much from the hard things that you have to go through, the wins, and how to handle winning and how to handle losing. So you guys, I wish that type of attitude needs to be everywhere in football, no matter where you live. See, I live in Southern California. California is generally a soft state. No offense to anybody that lives here. I'm not talking football-wise, but I'm talking just as a whole, okay? Regardless of your opinion on that. But at the same time, a lot of other states don't act like that. A lot of other states don't have these rules, and I feel like they're much better off in that sense, and they do a much better job preparing young men for life, okay? So that's all I'm going to say on that. I'm not going to go super in-depth because, like I said, we talked about it last week, but it's worth bringing up again because I think that's a very soft thing in this culture of football that we have. Now, second thing is the transfer culture. And just pretty much like anytime something doesn't go your way, transferring, I'm switching teams at the youth level, I'm going to a different team. You got to understand how to battle adversity, you guys, because things are not going to go your way. Fact of life. Things will not go your way. Life has a funny way of delivering you just a piece of crap on a silver platter, and you just got to deal with it sometimes, and you got to be like, man, this is a really bad situation. How can I get out of this situation and move forward? Because that's your responsibility. Sometimes things that will happen to you that are not fair, and it's not necessarily your fault. Let's say you're a quarterback, and they bring a transfer quarterback in, and he's like a 4-star, he's really good, he's got all these offers, you thought you were going to play, but they recruited this kid, and now he's starting. Okay, quarterback position, I get it. If you give it your all and you're not playing and you want to go transfer, cool, because there can only be one of you. But if you're a receiver, there could be 4 of you. If you're a lineman, there's 5 of you. If you're a linebacker, there's 3 of you. There are mostly every other position except like quarterback and kicker, maybe DB because there can only be 2, running back maybe because there can only be 1. You do rotate. But like, you can't be that guy that the second something doesn't go your way, you just throw your hand up, I'm transferring. Because I will tell you this, if you don't learn from those lessons and learn how to compete, learn how to deal with adversity, it will follow you your entire life, okay? I'm telling you this right now, you guys. Me personally, like, I went to Servite High School as a freshman, which is generally a bigger high school down here in Southern California, one of the better ones. They're not insanely great. They're not like a Bosco or Mater Dei, but it's a private school in that like Trinity League, right? I was a freshman. There was a sophomore quarterback ahead of me who had all these offers, a junior who was really good, and then a senior who was going to like Oregon, I believe at the time, right? So I wasn't probably going to play until I was a senior. So you know what I did? I was like, you know what? I think I want to transfer to a public school because I want to be able to play as a junior. When I got to that public school, guess what happened? Another kid comes in who is very, very good, and I have to compete. And you know what? My parents made me, they're like, we're not transferring you again, Grant. You got to freaking stay there, and you got to compete, and you got to figure this out. One of the best lessons that I ever learned in life was that when adversity hits you, if you run away from that adversity, it's going to find a way to find you some other avenue. You can't run from it. You have to face it head on because that's how you learn about yourself and learn what type of person that you are. How you deal with failure and how you deal with adversity defines who you are as a person. Are you going to be the guy that cowers away from it and runs? Or are you going to be the guy that faces it head on and gives it all you got? I get it. In some situations, you have to transfer, or you maybe have to leave teams. There are exceptions to the rule, but that is not the rule that the second something comes against you, you leave. Perfect example. Like there's a quarterback, like some of you might know him, his name's Malachi Nelson, right? He goes to the high school that I went to ultimately, right? And he, plays as a freshman. In my opinion, it's not his fault, by the way. It's not his fault. I blame the coaches and the people around him. But the coaches kind of babied the guy his whole life. You know what I mean? Like just kind of everything was his way. He got to act however he wanted to act. And anybody that was involved with that program when they were there will tell you the exact same thing. And he's not a bad dude. Like I met him a couple times. Nice kid. Nothing negative to say about the guy, right? But I feel like the circumstances around him didn't prepare him for the next level properly. Because when he gets to USC, kind of battles an injury a little bit. They have some other quarterbacks who are very talented because it's college ball. He ends up transferring. Goes to Boise State, ends up at Boise State, has to compete with somebody, he loses the job. Goes to UTEP, has to compete with some people, he's getting benched, not doing the greatest job that he could be doing. Because again, my opinion, this is just my opinion, and I could be dead wrong. He might be dealing with some stuff off the field that I don't know about. So I'm not going to speak out of turn. But what it looks like in that situation is that maybe he doesn't necessarily know how to compete because he never really had to compete because everybody around him kind of coddled him and was like, oh, he's a really good quarterback. Let's just make this environment as safe as possible for him. He could do this, he could do that. I don't blame him one bit. I blame the people that are around him. You know what I'm saying? But again, guys, if you're faced with adversity, you have to learn how to compete. You have to learn how to work through that because you're going to be hit in the mouth at some point in life and you got to know how to respond. You're cornered and backed up against the wall. Are you just going to cower away and shy away, or are you going to fight your way out of that situation? So guys, don't be that dude that's just quick to throw your hand up and transfer on impulse. Like I said, there are some circumstances that allow for it. I get it. But more often than not, you need to face that adversity, give it everything you got, and if you've done that and you still don't make any headway, then maybe it's okay for you to transfer, okay? So that's the second thing I want to discuss. Third thing, the everybody plays mentality, okay? So I'm all for development. You guys know me. I'm a development guy. I'm always talking about how youth football is about development. It's about development. It's not about winning championships because nobody cares at the end of the day. It's about developing you and getting you ready for high school football because high school football is when it matters a little bit more because now you're competing for scholarships and you obviously want to win and be as good of a team as possible, right? But my issue is that I don't believe that everybody deserves to play. I don't believe anybody deserves anything. Just because you woke up one day doesn't mean that you deserve or are entitled to anything. Like I had an employee who used to work for me, right? I'm not going to name names, obviously. One, I don't want to get sued, but two, that's beside the point. But anyways, they worked for me, right? And they went to college and they had a degree and all that stuff. And I'm not knocking that. And it's good for you. Fantastic. But on day one, worked one full day of 8 hours. The next day, hey, Grant, I need to talk to you. I need more money. I need paid time off. I need benefits. I need all this stuff. And it was just like, why didn't you say this to me before I hired you? Just because you did one day here and it was a hard day doesn't mean that you're entitled to all this stuff. Doesn't mean that you don't deserve it at some point, but you need to work to earn these things. You know what I mean? I told you right off the bat. We don't have paid time off. I told them right off the bat, you can work to that point. This is what your wage would be right off the bat. You can work to a raise, obviously, because I'm reasonable. If you do a great job, I want to keep you. But after day one, they're asking for that type of stuff. The entitlement. Just because you have a college degree, just because you woke up that morning, does not mean that you are owed anything from anybody. And that's myself included. I wake up in the morning, I don't think I got all these followers on social media, like everybody should be just super respectful to me and super nice to me. Like, you know, I've done this, I've done that. Like, that's the worst attitude that you can possibly have. It's entitlement. So just because you're on the team doesn't entitle you to anything. Doesn't entitle you to anything. And I'm saying this because like somebody needs to say it. You know what I mean? And maybe you don't like it. Maybe you don't like me. I don't care at this point. I'm just trying to tell you how it is for those of you listening to this, because I don't want you to be stunted and I don't want you to get a rude awakening where you get punched in the freaking face when you get to high school. And not everybody plays. You know what I mean? I get developing. I understand. And if there's like garbage time and you're beating a team by a bunch, yeah, get the backups in there. Get them some reps. At practice, get them some reps. Absolutely. But in a game, everybody doesn't deserve to play. If you didn't work hard in the offseason, you're not working hard at practice, you have a bad attitude, you don't know your plays, you're not doing the things that you need to do to set yourself up for playtime, you don't deserve to play. So I'm going to make this very clear. Everybody doesn't deserve to play. There are some people that deserve to sit on the bench because they don't work hard, they don't take it serious, and they don't do the things that they need to do. So I wish that culture would vanish. I know most teams don't do that, but I've seen some teams that do that, and I hate that. Like there's a high school team out here in Southern California. They're a freshman team, and their thought process is we want everybody to play and everybody to develop. I get it. I get the argument. You want to build your program. You want to be better off in the future. I understand. But like all the people that work their ass off to be a starter, and now like I was at a game, and it was the third quarter. They were losing 21-7. They put the third string out there because everybody plays. And then the next drive, the first string. Then the drive after that, the second string. And it's like, what are we doing? Like, we're losing. Like, why are we not putting the starters in? Like, so I think it's bad for the game. I think it will teach kids, like, hey, you're not playing because you didn't do what you needed to do. You had a bad game because you didn't work out at all during this past week and you took days off at practice like you were there, but you weren't actually there. I just think we need to hold athletes more accountable. You're not playing because you didn't do what you need to do. You're not playing because you're not good enough. You need to give it to them straight, and trust me when I say this, you will appreciate it later on because you'll be like, man, okay, and I think coaches need to deliver it well. I think coaches need to be like, hey, listen, you're not playing because you're not good in these areas. This is how you can improve in these areas, so show me that you can improve in these areas, and then you will get more play time. I think coaches need to handle it like that, obviously. But again, the everybody plays mentality is extremely soft in my opinion. Okay, now, next thing. This has to do with players and has to do with coaches. Complaining about criticism. Guys, the world isn't against you. And here's the thing about the world, and here's the thing about football, you're going to deal with some angry people. You know what I mean? Like, it's just the fact of how it is, right? Like, you're going to deal with some coaches who are probably pretty pissed off at their coaches because they probably, thought they had a playing career and now they're coaching high school football, and then maybe they don't feel too good about themselves, and sometimes they take out their frustration on people. You're going to come across people like that in your life. One, you should feel like empathy for those people because, like, man, they're like, nobody who's happy and nobody who, like, enjoys their life is, like, a total a-hole to people. And so, like, when you're sitting at practice and you got a coach who's being kind of an a-hole to you, like, it's like, yeah, it sucks, but you got to deal with it. Suck it up. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, he said some mean things. Like, who cares? Like, just, okay, receive the coaching, try to scrape out the stuff where he's putting you down as a player. Okay, he's coaching me up on this. Let's focus on that. You have to be mentally tough. You got to be mentally tough to be a football player, and you got to be mentally tough to be successful just in life, you guys. So don't be that dude that's just like, oh, he's always so mad at me. He said things that hurt my feelings. Like, get out of your feelings, bro. Like, at the end of the day, nobody cares about your feelings. Like, maybe your parents care and your loved ones care about how you feel, but it's all just lip service at the end of the day. Like, oh, it's okay. Don't feel so bad about yourself. Like, you got to pick yourself up. You got to have a little bit thicker skin and understand that, like, okay, I need to get better in these areas, and I'm going to tune out the negative BS because the negative stuff will eat you alive, and if you dwell on the mean, hurtful things that people say, you're going to fall into a spiral downward. You're not going to get better, and if you're not getting better, you're getting worse. Now, with that being said, I think a lot of people take hard coaching too personally. I think coaches, like, who are coaching you up hard and they're passionate about what they're doing, they're yelling at you when they're not actually yelling at you, they're just being loud. They're not putting you down, they're just coaching you up and they want you to be better. When coaches stop talking, that's when you should ultimately be worried. But if a coach is getting on you, he's hard on you, whatever, like, guys, understand that he's doing that because he cares about you getting better. So let's focus on getting better. Let's not focus on the tone of voice that the guy had. I just think that's a little soft. And I think you need to have a little bit thicker skin as a football player and as a man. Okay, so that's all I'm going to say about that, you guys. That's my opinion, and I hope this was able to give you as much value as it possibly could, okay? So now, fellas, we're going to get into some questions that you left on a previous episode of this show. So if you guys have questions, stuff you want to ask me, don't hesitate. Post those in the comment section below. I'd love to answer your guys' questions. We always appreciate interacting with you guys, and the best questions will feature on the next episode of our show. Now, before we do that, though, you guys, if you're a QB or wide receiver and you're watching this and you want to train with myself and my staff of coaches, every year we travel to 15 different cities all across the U.S., from like California all the way to Massachusetts. So if you guys would like to come to one of our camps, go to that very first link in the description below. That's where you can get all the information and sign up. Our next camp is going to be in San Francisco, California. Then we'll be coming out to Orlando, Florida, Phoenix, Arizona, Columbia, South Carolina, Seattle, Washington after that, Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, Nashville, Tennessee, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Austin, Texas, Atlanta, Georgia, Denver, Colorado, Columbus, Ohio, Boston, Massachusetts, Salt Lake City, Utah, and finishing it off in Los Angeles, California. So guys, our camps are almost completely sold out. So once they sell out, we have to start adding people to a wait list, but we do have availability currently. So make sure you take advantage of the fact that we have available spots because we won't soon. So guys, very first link in that description below, it's where you can sign up. We hope we can see you there. We really enjoy traveling and interacting with you guys and training with you guys, okay? So let's get to some of your questions, fellas. So question number 1 is from D1 Football Inc. How do I get attention as a wide receiver on a team if I'm going to be honest, is absolutely horrible and doesn't have a good quarterback? So if you have a bad quarterback, dealing with a bad quarterback, 3 things I recommend. Spend extra time with him. After practice, before practice, just to build some chemistry. And that's number 1. If he's got a quarterback coach, go with him to his quarterback coach just to build chemistry so he's a little bit more familiar with you and has more trust in you, so maybe he throws you the ball a little bit more. And his game's getting better, obviously, right? Number 2, try to explain things to him like from a quarterback standpoint, if you will. Quarterbacks are generally like thinkers, you know what I mean? Because they have to read a defense, they have to read a coverage, etc. So if you could explain to him, hey, on this play, when I run my dig, the linebacker crashes on this, you should look for me, look here, throw it early. That's probably my best piece of advice to you in that sense as well. And then always be positive. If you got a bad quarterback, nothing's worse at the quarterback position. If you're like, throw me the ball, you suck, like, don't be that guy. Be a guy who's very positive. Be a guy who's like, hey, listen, man, like, you know, we'll get the next one, we'll get the next one. Because that can at least keep his confidence level at a certain point. Because when his confidence goes down, his play is going to suffer, okay? So I hope that makes sense, man. I appreciate you asking that. Next question from Hayden J14. Hey, coach, I'm a 14-year-old 8th grader football player looking to switch from lineman to quarterback. I know it's a weird switch, but I'm looking to excel and learn. I'm 6 foot 210. Any tips? So if you're looking to switch to the quarterback position, it's not an easy task, but it is possible. What I recommend you focus on, your throwing mechanics, which will help you with accuracy and arm strength, extending the play, so being able to get out of the pocket and buy some time, and reading defenses. If you could do those things, you will be a much better quarterback and have a much smoother time transitioning, okay, into the position, all right? Now, next question from CD3Y6P. Hey, coach, a little unrelated, but I've been struggling a little with doing drills by myself. I usually work out in a public park and I feel embarrassed sometimes doing drills where other people can see me. I know I shouldn't and I try not to. Do you have any tips on how to get over this? So, honestly, man, you just got to get over it and do it. I think if you're a little bit embarrassed about doing drills on your own, like if anybody says anything, number 1, they're just a flat out loser. Like number 2, at the end of the day, nobody really cares. You go to the park, you're training, maybe you set up a camera, a tripod, you're filming yourself. Nobody cares at the end of the day. Just go out there and do it. The more you do it, you're going to get comfortable with it, and that kind of like anxiety of people looking at you will start to fade. So that's my best piece of advice to you, man. All right, you guys, that does it for this episode, but I appreciate everybody tuning in. Hope this was able to help. Hope you guys got some value out of this. Again, if you guys have questions, stuff you want to ask me, don't hesitate. Post those in the comments section below. We always love interacting with you guys, and we'll see you next time.